there, and welcome to the meeting place. I am so glad that you were able to join me today. And I want to say, if you've been here before, go ahead and put in the comments hashtag legacy. So I know that you're one of my legacy people. And if this is your first time, go ahead and put in hashtag newbie so I can give you a shout out and say, hey, believe me, I'm going to give my legacy people a shout out as well. And me, I'm Michelle O'Neill, your purposeful living coach and boundary strategist. And I help high achieving, heart centered women to create their own unique blueprint for living that extraordinary life and helping them actually execute it too. So, thank you for being here with me today. And I really want to jump in because I know how important your time and the fact that you are here with me today means a lot. So I want to honor your time and your commitment to being here. So you're here for somehow this subject has piqued your interest. And so a lot of us are struggling at one time or another in our lives at feeling lost, and sometimes more than others. So it's simple things like recently I've been in rooms and I've been hearing women talking about that they don't know who they are anymore, or I'm not even sure what it is that I really want. And so there are two questions that need to be answered. Who am I? Who am I at this time in my life? Who do I want to be at this time in my life? And what is it that I really want? And am I content and happy with where I am? Or is there more out there for me? So, what is it that I want? And so, these are the two questions that we're going to just pounce on and talk about today during today's meeting place. You know, as a mom and a teacher and you, a nurturer, a natural nurturer, because women, we are, whether you have children or not, we nurture others to maturity. We want to take care of others. We want to help them to grow and be better. And so that's just something we do naturally. And we are constantly looking for ways that we can step in, that we can help, that we can give, even now, even right now. I'm sure with me, I have a grown daughter and I am still always trying to step in and help her and give advice. And I have to literally pull myself back and remember, hey, she's grown. She's got kids that she's nurturing and growing up now. Give her the space to figure it out herself. You can't always jump in. And so there's a time when we have to allow others that are under us, whether we're in leadership or whatever it is, but there is a time when we have to step back. And when we find that we're in that space of learning our new role, that we start feeling lost. It's like, what's my purpose? Why am I here now? I'm not needed anymore. And so we struggle with this loss feeling because we have to redefine who we are and what it is that we really want. Because the things that we thought we want, we're not in that same space anymore. And so one of the things is at that time, we actually have a lack of direction. Is where am I heading at this point? Where am I going? What's my purpose? What's the meaning to me getting up every morning? Why am I pushing forward? Why am I in this job? Why am I, whatever it is, why am I eating? Whatever it is, why? You start questioning even the normal day-to-day things that you're doing. And so we begin, one of the first things is, okay, let me slow down because I get so excited. There are three particular things that I want to go over. And one of them is, how do you determine your value? And then the second is, what's the change? What has changed recently in your life that's making you feel more lost? or lost for the first time? And finally, what can you do to start answering those two questions that I asked in the beginning? Who am I? And what do I want? How do we begin to answer those questions? And so I'm going to start with the first one. How do you determine your value? And a lot of times we place our self worth and our value in the people that are in our lives. We begin to take our own selves for granted because we're spending so much time taking care of those in our lives. In fact, we put everything we have into them, taking care of them, providing for them, uplifting, encouraging, helping, so much so that we forget to do those same things for ourselves. Sometimes we can't depend on others to encourage us. We need to be able to encourage ourselves. We can't depend on others to lift us up. Girlfriend, you got to be able to lift yourself up. You have to learn to sit back and stop taking yourself for granted. Because you know what that does? That teaches others to take us for granted too. If we're not taking care of ourselves, we're showing others how to take care of us. You know, we lead by example. What example are we setting for others when we don't take care of ourselves? So the first thing we want to do is stop taking ourselves for granted. And then we have to understand that our value is related to how we act towards ourselves and others, and not how you feel. Value isn't wrapped into feelings and emotions. That's worth. Value is related to how you act towards yourself, the value you place on something. Remember when, I know you've heard it time and time again, that it's only when you pay for something that you value it because you've invested in it. What have you invested in yourself lately? What value are you placing on yourself? You know, what difference are you making in the lives of others? Because when you start realizing how your actions is making a difference in the lives of others, you start seeing your value because you see the things that your actions have done. How do you treat others? How do you value others? The way you value others is the way you're to value yourself. And a lot of times the way you value yourself spills out into how you value others. So make sure or look at how you value others. You have to train yourself to lift others up, to encourage others. And in doing that, we train others. Those are some of the first things that we treat our kids. We teach them, say thank you, sweetie. Say please. We teach them to respect others. We teach them to respect others' feelings, respect others' rights, value them as a person. And you have to do the same thing for yourself. And then as you learn or remind yourself of your strengths and your weaknesses, you use that as a baseline to who you are and the value you bring. A lot of times we forget our strengths. We forget, but we remember our weaknesses. Now let me tell you that we are quick to remember where we lack, but remember your strengths as well. Because when we remember our strengths, that's a baseline for knowing what we bring to the table. And a lot of times, because it's so natural for us, because it's a thing that we do without thinking, we don't even realize it's something we do. And so sometimes just sit down and make a list of the things that you bring to the table. And if you can't think of them, ask someone who knows you, who really knows you well. What do you think my strengths are? What are the things that I do that you wish you could do or you were more of? And I bet that they will tell you things you never thought of or you never saw yourself that way. And then you must be accountable to your actions. You have to be responsible for the actions you take and the way you treat yourself and the way you train others to teach you. Because no one is allowing them to do that but you. And your boundaries are created around the value and the perception you bring about yourself. You know, your values is not, and I said it earlier, your values is not what you do. It's not the roles that you are. It's not the mom, the wife, the daughter, the boss. It's not the leader. That's a role that's in your life. It's not your occupation of the doctor, the lawyer. It's not what you're getting paid to do. Your role, how do I say? It's your value is in who you are. And so I want to give you a short little exercise to do. And this is one of the exercises that I often do with my clients. But I'd like to do it with you right here, right now. I want you to put in the comments below. I want you to tell me one or two things of, we're going to play the game of I am. I want you to say I am and then put a word after it. But there's a caveat to this. You cannot say I am a or I am an. It has to be strictly I am. So you can't say I am a teacher. I'm a doctor. That cannot be said because then we're going back to roles and occupations. But you can say I am strong. I am fierce. I am capable. I am caring. I am loving. And I want you to put a couple of those words right here in the comments so that I can celebrate you and who you are. And I want you to write this down. Why don't you go home or right there where you are, start putting down the characteristics of who you are? Because at this point, you are listing out the characteristics that makes you who you are. And then the next thing I want to talk about of what has changed recently in your life to make you feel more lost. Because usually it's something that happens that brings that feeling of being lost to the forefront. Has your level of responsibility changed? And what do I mean by that? Has things changed in your life where at one time you were more needed, you were wanted, your expertise, your know-how was always relied upon, and now they have it? Oh, I got this. Thank you, but I think I can figure it out now. Mom, let me do it on my own. Has your level of responsibility pulled back? And now you're asking yourself, what do I do? Am I needed? Nobody needs me anymore. So what do I do with my time? How do I make a place and a space for myself anymore? And so when we come to that place of doubting our value or need, or if we're even wanted, it's time for us to do another exercise. I want you to face the person in the mirror. I want you to get to know her. I want you to look her in the eye, because they say the eye is the mirror of the soul. What are you reading in her eyes? What emotions are you seeing in her eyes? Is she sad? Is she discouraged? Is she happy? Is she pensive? What is it that you're seeing at that girl in the mirror? Really look into her eyes and then be honest about what it is that you see. And be honest about the feelings as you look into her eyes. Be honest about the feelings that are coming up, that are boiling up to the surface. Face those feelings. And then we practice a period of self-acceptance. Because you are that girl in the mirror. That's you. Every scar, every blemish, every dimple, every smile, every wrinkle, that's you, and she is absolutely beautiful because she is uniquely you. And so you accept the uniqueness of who she is. You embrace her strengths. You embrace her beauty. You embrace her blemishes, her weaknesses. You accept them for what they are. And when I say accept, I'm not saying that you tear them down. You just say, that's what it is, right? There's some things you can't change. I can't change the color of my skin. I love the beauty of the brownness, the warmth of the color. Start looking at yourself there, in that way. The darkness of the browns in my eyes, how you can get lost in them. Start really looking at yourself. And then I want to ask, what significant life event has happened to possibly be the cause of your feeling lost? Are you dealing with emptiness? Is what used to be full now empty? And you're beginning to wonder what your purpose is? What it is you're supposed to do? How you can contribute? Have you had a divorce recently? A death? Are you having health issues? Are you facing your own immortality? These things can also add to the feeling of loss because they're the feeling of loss of control. Most of these things are out of your control. They are outside of what you have control over. And so there's a loss of control. And then finally, we're back to the two original questions. What can you do? What is it that you can do to start answering those questions of who am I? You have to learn to be objective. No, you don't have to. You want to learn to be objective to both of those questions. Who am I? You want to be able to look at yourself honestly and imagine a world where being yourself, it wasn't a barrier. In fact, it was an asset. It was something to lean into because you are uniquely you. Who do you want to be? Who is it that if you had the world as your oyster, if you could be anything you wanted to be, who do you want to be? And I'm talking about character. What characteristics do you want to exude that is so much a part of you that is unthinkable that you were not? Who do you want to be? And how do you currently see yourself? What are the things that you see in yourself right now? The good and the bad. And then start looking in the middle and say, what is the gap between who I want to be and how I see myself now? How far apart are they? What are the things that I can do to shorten that gap? What are the things I like and dislike about myself, about the situation I'm in, and about life itself? When you ask yourselves these questions, it begins to give you the foundation of who you really want to be. Who do you want to be? If you take the time to answer these questions that I gave you, please come back. Come back to this live and tell me in the comments below, I want to be. One word. Who do you want to be? And then finally, what do you want? How do you answer that? No, really. What do you want? How many times have you asked yourself that stuff and all you could do is, I don't know. I don't know what I want. You have to answer who you are before you can answer what it is you want. But I'm going to help you answer what you want. And the easiest way to start that journey is to say, what don't I want? Have you found that it's easier a lot of times when someone asks you a question? What do you want? Who do you want to be? It's hard to find the answers to that, especially when we are the focus of the answer. But I can tell you one thing, knowing what it is you don't like, it is so easy to start coming up with those answers. So start a list of what you don't want. Because as you start realizing what it is you don't want, your mind will automatically start formulating the opposite of what it is you do want. I don't want chaos. You're right. I want peace. I want calm. I want to be in a space where I'm not around people who are always arguing. You see? You see how easy that was? It's because as I started to formulate what it was that I didn't want, I was able to visualize that picture of what it is that I did want that space to look like. And then my final question to you is, now that you know what you don't want and you've started visualizing what it is that you do want, why don't you have it? Why don't you have it? What's stopping you? Are you stopping you? What around you is stopping you? I would encourage you to go through the exercises that I've put in this video. But not only that, I want you to really think about it. These are hard exercises that I work through with my clients. And we really dial into these things. I want you to come up with those answers also for yourself. As many as you can. Look, I have a special gift for you to even help you walk through this. Until November 30th, I have a special holiday special, a holiday gratitude special just for you. And all you have to do is put in masteringyourmonday.life/unlimited. Because what it is unlimited coaching for you for 90 days to help you walk through this exercise or any other thing that right now in your life you feel that you need encouragement, help, expertise, accountability, anything you feel you need help with in respect to having that extraordinary life. I want to be here for you. So again, this special is only until November 30th. If you see this video after November 30th, it has gone, but there are other ways that we can work together. Until the next meeting place, I am so glad that I have had the opportunity to be with you today. And I want you to know you are amazing. And it is a gift, a joy, and a blessing to be here with you today. Until next time, take care. See you in the next meeting place, if not before. Bye-bye.